What if everything you've been taught about controlling people and situations is actually holding you back from real peace and freedom? Imagine letting go, not giving up, but finally breaking free from the exhausting need to be accepted, understood, or approved. In this video, I'm going to reveal the powerful "Let Them" philosophy by Mel Robbins. A mindset shift so simple yet so radical, it will change how you see yourself and everyone around you forever. Stay with me, because what comes next might just set you free. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that if we work hard enough, say the right things, act the right way, and do everything perfectly, we can control what people think of us. That we can steer situations, manage reactions, and prevent disappointment. This idea is comforting. It gives us a sense of power in a world that often feels unpredictable. But here's the truth that most of us eventually come to learn, sometimes painfully. No matter how much effort we put in, we cannot control what others think, say, or do. And the more we try, the more frustrated, anxious, and drained we become. Think about it. How many times have you replayed a conversation in your head, wondering if you could have said something differently so that someone wouldn't be upset? How often have you twisted yourself into someone you're not just to gain approval, only to feel hollow afterward? That constant internal battle between being authentic and being accepted is the result of clinging to the illusion of control. This illusion isn't just exhausting, it's a trap. When we try to micromanage how others perceive us or force situations to unfold a certain way, we're not living, we're performing. We become puppeteers in a show that's not even ours. And even when we think we're doing everything right, people still misunderstand us, leave us, criticize us. Why? Because their actions aren't about us, they're about them. Their filters, their wounds, their mindset. The real shift happens when you realize that freedom isn't found in control, it's found in letting go. In saying, let them think what they want. Let them go if they need to. Let them be who they are. That's not giving up, that's stepping into peace. That's taking your power back. The "let them" philosophy didn't come to Mel Robbins all at once. Like most powerful ideas, it was born out of frustration, heartbreak, and a deep desire for peace. There was a time in her life when she, like so many of us, was constantly trying to manage the way others saw her. Whether it was family, friends, co-workers, or even strangers, Mel found herself obsessing over how people reacted to her decisions. Was she being too much, too quiet, too opinionated, not helpful enough? She spent so much energy trying to be liked, trying to be understood, trying to be chosen. But the harder she tried to control things, the less in control she actually felt. It reached a breaking point when she realized something deeply painful. Even when she gave her best, it wasn't enough for everyone. People still judged. People still walked away. People still misunderstood her intentions. And one day, after another exhausting conversation trying to explain herself to someone who clearly wasn't interested in listening, she had a quiet but powerful thought. Let them. Just 2 words. Let them walk away. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand. Let them go. At first, it felt like giving up, but then she realized it wasn't surrender, it was liberation. She didn't need to chase validation anymore. She didn't need to beg to be seen. She only needed to be true to herself. That simple phrase became a daily mantra. Every time her mind started spinning with worry about what someone else might think, she repeated it. Let them. And with each repetition, the noise got quieter. Her anxiety loosened its grip, and she began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time: freedom. The beauty of the "let them" philosophy is that it flips everything we've been taught. We're told to work harder, do more, be more agreeable, more adaptable, more pleasing. But "let them" says the opposite. It tells you to stop chasing people who are walking away. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop trying to please people who will never be satisfied no matter what you do. It's not about being cold or detached. It's about reclaiming your energy and refusing to waste it on people or situations that drain you. Mel often talks about how this mindset is not passive, it's deeply active. It requires you to trust yourself so fully that you don't flinch when others disagree. It demands that you value your peace more than someone else's approval. And that's not easy, especially if you're used to people-pleasing or afraid of rejection. Most of us live in a constant state of resistance. We want people to behave differently. We want them to treat us better, love us more, agree with us, validate us. And when they don't, we push back, we argue, we chase, we explain, we justify. But here's the thing, the more we resist what's already happening, the more pain we create for ourselves. We hold on to what someone should have said, how they should have acted, what they should have done, but they didn't. And all the wishing in the world won't change that. Acceptance is looking at a person's actions and saying, this is who they are right now. Let them. Not because you're okay with being disrespected or hurt, but because you understand you can't change them. You can only choose your next step. You can walk away. You can set a boundary. You can protect your peace. Acceptance doesn't mean you stay in unhealthy situations. It means you stop pretending there's something they're not. There's something incredibly powerful that happens when you stop trying to control people. You become calmer. You stop overthinking every conversation. Stop replaying every little thing in your head. You start to trust that the right people will stay and the wrong ones will reveal themselves. You start to realize that the world doesn't fall apart just because someone doesn't like you or agree with you. And even more than that, you begin to like yourself more. You stop needing everyone else to do it for you. Imagine this. Someone you care about starts pulling away. You can feel it. The cold texts, the delayed responses, the lack of enthusiasm. Your instinct might be to ask what's wrong, to fix it, to convince them to stay. But what if instead you simply said, let them pull away, let them create distance, let them leave if they need to. That doesn't make you unworthy, that makes you wise. Because clinging to someone who doesn't want to stay only makes you feel small. And you were never meant to beg for the things that are supposed to be freely given. Acceptance doesn't mean you love less, it means you love smarter. You understand that love and control are not the same. You don't need to force anything that's real. The people who see your worth won't need convincing. And those who do, let them go. Let them live their journey while you honor your own. In acceptance, you don't lose power, you finally step into it. Relationships are often the space where the need for control shows up the most. Whether it's romantic, familial, or friendships, we instinctively try to manage how people behave, how they treat us, how they respond to our needs. We want them to show up in a specific way, and when they don't, we get disappointed, frustrated, even resentful. The let them philosophy flips this entire pattern on its head. It challenges us to stop trying to mold others into what we want them to be, and instead, let them reveal who they truly are. That truth might hurt, but it will never betray you the way false hope does. Think about a relationship where you've tried to hold it together with your bare hands. You kept giving chances, making excuses, explaining your point of view over and over again, hoping they'd finally get it, hoping they'd finally change. Maybe you've found yourself asking, why can't they just see how much I care? Or why won't they treat me the way I treat them? But here's the thing, if someone wants to understand, they will. If someone wants to meet you halfway, they will. And if they don't, your effort won't make a difference. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a powerful one. Letting them be who they are doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop forcing. You give people the space to make their own choices, and in doing so, you get clarity on where they truly stand. If someone chooses distance, let them. If someone chooses to be disrespectful, let them. So you can choose to step away. This doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're no longer available for relationships that require you to abandon yourself in order to keep someone else close. Healthy relationships thrive in honesty and autonomy. When you stop controlling and start observing, you see people more clearly. You begin to notice the small red flags you used to ignore. You stop justifying the mixed signals, the inconsistencies, the lack of effort. And here's the twist: most people never expect. When you stop chasing, some people show up better. Why? Because they're not being pushed or pressured. They're responding to the peace you've created. And those who don't show up at all, their absence is your answer. There's a quiet strength in letting someone be exactly who they are, and then making your decisions based on that, not on who they could be if they just tried harder. When you say, let them, you aren't saying, I don't care. You're saying, I care about myself enough not to beg for the bare minimum. You stop trying to teach people how to love you and start aligning yourself with those who already do. In the end, the healthiest relationships are not built on control, but on freedom. Freedom to be yourself, to express your needs, to walk away when those needs aren't being respected. Let them is not a wall, it's a door. And sometimes, letting someone go through it is the most loving thing you can do, for them and for yourself. One of the most transformative parts of the Let Them philosophy is how it teaches you to stop reacting to everything. We live in a world where we're constantly triggered by comments online, by people who don't text back, by friends who cancel plans, by co-workers who don't pull their weight. And in that constant reaction mode, we lose control of ourselves. We become emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, and spiritually depleted. But here's where the power of Let Them truly shines. It teaches you how to pause, how to breathe, and most importantly, how to choose your response instead of being ruled by your reaction. When someone says something rude, your instinct might be to snap back, defend yourself, or prove them wrong. But ask yourself, what does that actually accomplish? Do they suddenly understand you better? Do they apologize? Most of the time, no. All that happens is you give them your energy, your peace, and your power. What if instead of engaging, you just let them? Let them think what they want. Let them judge, let them gossip. Because their words don't define you, your reaction does. Non-reactivity isn't about being weak or passive. It's about being wise. It's about recognizing that not every comment deserves your attention. Not every conflict needs your involvement. And not every situation is worth you. When you master the art of non-reactivity, you become unshakable. People can try to provoke you, but you won't bite. They can push your buttons, but you'll stay centered. That's real power. Not loud, not flashy, but deeply rooted and calm. It's not easy at first. We're used to defending ourselves. We've been taught that silence means surrender. But in reality, silence often means strength. It means you're no longer available for chaos. It means you value your inner peace more than winning a pointless argument. The more you practice this, the more you'll notice something surprising. The world starts to bother you less. The things that used to send you into a spiral, they barely register anymore. You start to look at situations and think, that's not about me, and most of the time it really isn't. The let them mindset helps you separate yourself from the noise. You begin to realize that your emotions are not everyone else's responsibility, just like theirs aren't yours. You are allowed to observe someone else's bad behavior without internalizing it. You are allowed to witness drama and walk away instead of diving into it. You don't need to fix, explain, or correct. You just need to choose peace. There is profound growth that comes when you stop reacting and start responding with intention. That space between stimulus and response, that tiny moment where you decide how to proceed, is where your entire life can change. You move from being emotionally hijacked to being emotionally free. That's when your power becomes untouchable. Let them do what they do, and you stay rooted in your calm. That's the shift. That's where peace begins. One of the most painful traps we fall into is tying our self-worth to the way other people treat us. We start to believe that how much someone loves us, respects us, or chooses us somehow reflects how valuable we are. If someone leaves, we think it's because we weren't enough. If someone disrespects us, we wonder what we did wrong. But the truth is, people's behavior isn't a report card on our worth. It's a mirror of their own issues, their own values, their own perspective, and the let them philosophy gently but powerfully reminds us of that. When you start saying let them, you begin the process of separating your identity from other people's choices. You begin to understand that someone choosing not to love you doesn't mean you're unlovable. Someone not recognizing your effort doesn't mean it wasn't there. Someone not appreciating your presence doesn't make you less valuable. It just means they couldn't see it. And that says more about them than it does about you. This shift is profound because it puts the power back in your hands. You stop outsourcing your self-esteem to people who don't know how to handle it. You stop waiting for validation from those who aren't capable of giving it. You stop adjusting who you are to fit into boxes you were never meant to fit in. And when you stop doing that, something incredible happens. You begin to feel whole on your own. Letting people be who they are includes letting them not choose you, letting them misunderstand you, letting them go, and not using any of it as evidence against yourself. That kind of detachment doesn't make you cold, it makes you healed. Because when you know who you are, you no longer need someone else to confirm it. You become solid, grounded, unshaken by the temporary storms caused by other people's confusion or inability to love well. Self-worth that's tied to how others treat you will always be fragile. It will rise and fall with every compliment or criticism. But self-worth that's built from within, that's indestructible. The let them philosophy helps you get there. It teaches you to let people have their opinions, their exits, their silence, without it shaking your sense of value. Imagine how different your life would be if you truly believed you didn't have to earn love or prove your worth. Imagine what you'd stop tolerating, what you'd walk away from, what you'd say no to, not out of anger, but out of deep, unshakable self-respect. That's what let them gives you, the ability to stop taking things personally and start seeing. When you stop giving your power to others, you begin to feel the weight of it in your own hands. And with that weight comes responsibility. To treat yourself with kindness, to honor your needs, and to never again settle for less than what you deserve. Let them walk. Let them stay. Let them misunderstand. Either way, you're still enough. Always have been, always will be. Endings are often viewed with fear, sadness, or failure. We think of them as the close of a chapter that we wanted to last forever, or a sign that something has gone wrong. But the let them philosophy invites us to see endings differently, as gateways, as opportunities for transformation, as the beginning of something new, rather than the loss of what was. This perspective shift is not always easy, because letting go of what we know feels risky. We fear the unknown, the emptiness that comes after something ends. Yet, it's in those very moments of ending that growth and freedom begin. When a relationship ends, a job closes, or a dream is shelved, the instinct is to hold on tightly, to try to reverse the outcome, or cling to what's familiar. We might replay every moment, wishing for a different ending, or blame ourselves and others. But let them teaches us that true peace doesn't come from forcing something to stay. It comes from embracing the natural flow of life. Some things are meant to fade away to make room for what's next, and resisting that process only prolongs the pain. Letting go of an ending means accepting that closure is not about erasing the past or pretending it never mattered. It's about honoring what was and then releasing it. When you stop fighting the finality, you create space for healing. You give yourself permission to grieve, but also to dream again. You move from a place of scarcity, fear that this was all you'll ever have, to abundance, trusting that new possibilities await. Surprisingly, letting go of endings can also bring clarity. Often, when something ends, we suddenly see truths we missed before, the signs, the mismatches, the lessons. We gain perspective that's impossible to have while we're still tangled up in trying to control the outcome. This clarity becomes a guide, showing us what to pursue next, what to protect, and what to avoid. It's like stepping out of a dark room into the light. The past may have been confusing and painful, but the present offers a new way forward. The twist most don't expect is that endings can feel like failures only if you define success by permanence. But life isn't about holding on forever, it's about evolving, adapting, and learning. The Let Them philosophy invites you to redefine success. Success is now about flow, about resilience, about the courage to say, I release what no longer serves me and trust the future to unfold as it should. When you embrace endings this way, you stop seeing them as punishments and start seeing them as blessings. Each ending becomes a chance to shed old layers, to grow stronger, and to step into your next chapter with open arms. It takes courage to let go, but in that courage lies your greatest freedom. The moment you say, let them go or let this end, you reclaim control, not over others, but over how you live your life. In the end, endings are not stops, they're transitions. They're the soil from which new beginnings sprout. And when you hold on to this truth, you transform what once felt like loss into the start of your next adventure. Growth is rarely comfortable. It demands that we step out of familiar patterns and face uncertainty head-on. The Let Them philosophy is not just about letting others be who they are. It's also about letting yourself evolve without the need for constant approval or validation. It challenges you to trust your own journey, even when it feels lonely or confusing. This kind of growth requires patience and courage because it means embracing change, even when it's scary. When you start practicing Let Them, you begin to notice how much of your energy was spent trying to control outcomes or people's opinions. Suddenly, that energy becomes available for something much more important, your own growth. You begin to ask questions like, who do I want to become, rather than what do others want from me? This shift from external frees you from the exhausting cycle of trying to fit in and opens the door to genuine transformation. Growth also means learning to be okay with discomfort. Change often feels like loss because it pulls us away from the familiar. You might lose relationships, comfort zones, or even old beliefs about yourself. But in that loss is space for something new. New strengths, new insights, new opportunities. When you embrace Let Them, you accept that not everyone will walk with you on this path. Some people will leave because your growth threatens their comfort or because your paths simply no longer align. Letting them go is painful but necessary for your evolution. This philosophy teaches that growth isn't a straight line. It's messy, with setbacks and detours. Sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but each experience, whether good or bad, is a lesson, shaping the person you're becoming. You learn resilience, not just bouncing back, but moving forward, stronger and wiser. Another surprising part of growth through Let Them is discovering your own voice and boundaries. When you stop trying to please everyone, you begin to hear yourself more clearly. You learn to say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. You understand that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. This clarity brings confidence and peace. As you grow, you also develop compassion, not only for others but for yourself. You realize that everyone is on their own journey, battling their own fears and struggles. This perspective softens resentment and judgment. You start to accept others exactly as they are and do the same for yourself. Ultimately, the growth that comes from Let Them is about freedom. Freedom from needing permission to be who you are. Freedom from the chains of approval and control. Freedom to live authentically, courageously, and with open-hearted trust in the unfolding of your life. It's a journey worth taking, even if the road is rocky, because on the other side is the best version of yourself, unapologetically real and unshakably free.